All right, welcome to Big Thinking with Zaid. That's me. Today we're going to be thinking big with Tom Coppens. He is a personal trainer in CrossFit, specializing in gymnastics. And he has this beautiful dream of owning a farm, living with his family, growing some coffee, having a 911 in the garage. And we're going to discover whether his plan to achieve that goal is realistic. Does he need to adjust? That's the goal of Big Thinking, is to explore the mind, explore people's dreams, and find out a way of how they can achieve them. So you're going to enjoy this conversation. I had fun with Tom, and I hope you enjoy it too. The power of the mind is so powerful.
Yeah,
Very stupidly said, but here we are. Uh,
it's a cliche, but it's true.
it all starts with the mind. When you have a clear goal, even if you don't achieve that goal, right, or whatever that goal might be, not realistic or whatever, just setting the target and focusing on it aligns a lot of things in your life in the right direction. So you go to that direction, then maybe you discover new things and you start incorporating new things or whatever. But goal setting and exploring where your mind is at in relation to the goal is very important when you're trying to build a business.
Agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think it's not just for a business. I think for kind of everything in life.
absolutely.
It's funny because yesterday I was talking with my girlfriend about a reel that I saw,
Mhm.
and the guy said he was kind of like setting not really benchmarks but guidelines. And he said, like, if I guide a client, I advise them that they are able to run 10 kilometers unbroken for a safe or for a decent HIROX. And what's decent for you is different for me, but whatever. But the idea was he was just kind of like, and in my eyes, I also think it's kind of like safety.
Mhm.
And obviously, people were kind of like calling him out and like, yeah, I hadn't run 5 kilometers unbroken and I was able to do my high rocks. And it's like, yeah, but if your idea is, I just want to run it or I just want to participate,
Mhm.
and you go in with this mindset of, I have no expectations, I have no goals or the goal. And I think, again, I want to preface this. It's amazing that you want to do a physical feat.
Mhm.
It's really good that you're challenging yourself, but you know that a Hyrox is 8 kilometers. If the furthest you've ran is 3 kilometers, you're gonna probably take 2 hours and more. Is it a safe way of entering
Mhm.
physical activity? Probably not. So why not say, well, you know what, I want to do as good as possible and then still see where you end up, rather than just this kind of like attitude of, oh yeah, we'll see. I have no goal. I
Mhm.
don't care what I'm doing. Like, challenge yourself a little bit.
I totally agree. It's 100%. I say business just because I'm used to saying business or brand,
Yeah.
right? But you're absolutely right. Uh, I think it's because a lot of people think effort, just putting in the effort or making the decision and doing something is enough to get like a pat on the back and be like, hey, at least I joined, at least I
But
finished. And it's like
yeah,
what you're
it's
saying
that.
is you should join on whatever, but you need to take it to the level where you can achieve that goal in a comfortable way. And that takes training, that takes building capacity, that takes a lot of strategies, right? Like, for example, I'm restarting calisthenics. I used to, like just simple calisthenics, not like you, like you're a little too advanced. But for me, it's just dips, pull ups, is all I really want. Really, to do full body dips and pull ups is good for my front, back. It's great. And then I walk, do
Yeah.
squats. I'm kind of in a good position where it's like I feel strong, which is my goal. Is to just be able, like, just hold my fist and then all my arm is like strong, and that just makes me feel good about myself, right? to achieve that pull up at my level, I was 250 pounds and I could like pull up, and I was like super proud of myself, and I'm like,
That's
oh,
impressive.
yeah. So, but it took a lot of, I did like grease the groove type of training,
Mm-hmm.
where like I'm not burning out. So I'm training every day. I'm doing it every day. I'm doing the stupid things, doing the sets. It doesn't look as magnificent as you do, like chest to bar or whatever, but it was good for me. And I built up. It's not that I was just like, I just want to do resistance training every day and I do the bare minimum, like do a little bench press, do a little whatever. I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm exercising. And it's like, but that's not the point. The point is you want to achieve a goal like pull up or with your HIROX, student, you want to do well at the HIROX. If you want to join the HIROX, you want to do something, not compete maybe and win first. Maybe you do want to do that, but if it's your first one, you want to at least not die by the end of it. You want to do it and be like, that felt good.
And I think it's also people like, yeah, I just want to have fun. And
Yes.
I'm like, sure, like
Mhm.
there is nothing wrong with it. But and probably it's maybe a different type of fun. Like for me, if I sign up and I want to have fun, I'll still probably redline the entire race.
Mhm.
And I've done two. I've done one alone, one with my girlfriend, and on both, like the one alone, I was just in my zone and I was enjoying it. I was dying, let's say, but I still had that competitive edge.
Yeah.
And like I remember, I don't know, I had no expectations, but I had something of like, okay, I want to finish in 1 hour 20. That was kind of like what we had discussed. And I remember talking to a friend and he jokingly said like, 1 hour 15
Mhm.
or like less than 1 hour 15. And I remember the first I crossed the line and it was 1 hour 15 and a couple of seconds.
Mhm.
And my first reaction was, fuck. I
That's
didn't
like
make,
really good, is what I'm listening.
no, in the sense of I didn't make 1 hour 15.
Okay.
So I immediately went to kind of like, and I tried to work at it because I can be very hard on myself. And like,
Mhm.
rather than saying, like, well, it's my first one, I barely trained for
Mhm.
it, like, I still have a very good time. I kind of like went, and I think that's a huge difference where someone might be like, I'm just gonna sign up because it's very popular. I want to get the finish line pictures. I want to get the videos while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing it. And yeah, I'm having fun and I don't care about my time and everything. And it's like, yeah, but if the average finish time is around 1 hour and a half, and you're ending up with 2 hours and 10, or I've seen people like 2 hours and a half, 3 hours. It's like, did you really enjoy it? Like,
Yeah.
probably, and you and I have a different like definition of fun, or
For
like,
sure. For sure. I
but
think that's why I say
that's not
business,
the
because
intention. It's not
with,
the intention.
yeah.
And I think it's the same, like I see you in calisthenics as well, and probably we'll get to there with CrossFit, is when it comes to CrossFit, people are like, I just want to do what the standard is. And and look, again, I want to say, I think CrossFit is one of the best fitness methods or, yeah, philosophies out there when it's performed and guided by great coaches. That's kind of like the preface of this. If it's not done as prescribed or how it was intended, it can get ugly fast. But what
Mhm.
happens a lot of time is like, okay, this is the workout, and people think I have to do the pull up like I see the professionals do it. And I've said it before, if a lot of people who are in bodybuilding have the same intensity as people in CrossFit, you would have people with way better physiques
Mhm.
in bodybuilding, because some of the it's kind of like a do or die mentality, and that's in CrossFit. And it's really what injures quite some people, but you'll see that they barely can do a pull up, but they see a certain skill and they're
Mhm.
like, I need to be able to do that. And then they
Mhm.
work towards that. And but they don't think about like, okay, what's the actual next step?
Yeah.
So it's just like I can do one dip. And it's almost they don't care how it looks. It's
Yes.
just a dip.
Because it's based in that's like back to the goal setting mentality, right? Like there is two reasons to pursue a goal, or more reasons, but two reasons I want to talk about. Um, some people want to achieve goals to say or brag or as a status symbol to achieve goals. And that is not something I'm interested in facilitating, right? Because it doesn't really add much. Uh, a good goal is something that guides your day-to-day actions in a way that is meaningful, that makes
Yeah.
the process beautiful and enjoyable and meaningful and fun, right? And the I guess what's nice about business is there is this minimum acceptable result, which is living, right?
Yeah.
Like it has
Yeah.
to finance your living. Whereas fitness, you can say whatever. I'm at whatever fitness level, and it doesn't matter. Maybe I have a cheeseburger. Like it's not gonna affect your ability to provide for your family, to live a good life, to do all the things. So that's what's nice about business is we need to achieve at least whatever your dream lifestyle is, even if it's not so, luxurious and all of that. If you just, like you said, I heard you one time, and we'll get into this and explore more. Like, you're like, what would be great is if I had like a small coffee farm, I produce a little
Mhm.
coffee, do some exercise and all of that. That is a fun lifestyle for me. And it's like, okay, let's find out how much that costs, right? Put that number somewhere so you know how to weigh your decisions. Like, hey, if I make this decision, is it gonna make $100 or is it gonna make $1,000? Is $100 enough to get my goal, or should I find out how to get to $1,000? And that's how it guides you in that quest, right? But if you end up not getting the coffee farm or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like that goal motivated a lot of the actions that made it fun,
Yeah.
for you to go and do that. So the same thing with like fitness, right? It's if you say, like for me, after joining the fit and seeing all this running craziness, right? I'm like, my first goal is I want to run a 5K, right? So that's a good first goal to have. And then I want to compete at a 5K. What is like a good competitive time? Like 15 minutes, right? Or is that
I think like well, it depends. If you really want to compete, probably you're gonna looking at depending where the competition is. I think between 17, 18 might make you competitive in some local
perfect?
runs,
So
but
that's like my second
otherwise,
goal is like now I can run 5K in whatever, 30 minutes, whatever. Next goal is how do I get that to 18 minutes? And now the process of getting there is so much fun, right? Even if I get 19 or 20 or whatever, getting faster and working on the things and healing or whatever, it doesn't have to be by a deadline. That's another mistake a lot of people make, that they're like, I need to do it by June, and then they don't do it and they're disappointed. And it's like, no, you just need to go hard every day. If it takes 3 months or 10 months or 2 years, it doesn't really matter. What matters is you put in everything you can creatively, intellectually, uh, energy wise, endurance. You put it all in the day's work, right? So this workshop is gonna just take all your long term kind of ideas and then give you a clear picture of what that is, what's important to concentrate on, and now you can pull from that. Like, because you're like, if I want this, then my brand has to be like this, my marketing has to be like this, I need these
yeah.
products, I need these customers, maybe I need to look at it. So it's helpful in that way. So if you have any questions, if you have any questions at any point in time, ask me. Try to understand like take your time to think about your answers. You don't need to answer right away. If I ask a
Mm-hmm.
question, you want to think, take your time to think about it. This is not a conversation in a way where it's like we're just passing time and you can just talk about, 20 things or whatever. It's really pointed to try to have you think and come up with an answer you have conviction in, right? And it can be wrong, and I will challenge you if something sounds unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just to give you the essence of what's gonna happen. Do you
All
have any
right.
questions before we start?
No,
Okay.
no, I think it's gonna also just show along the way.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, it will explore a lot of things. So, if and at the end, if we don't get to something you want to talk about, we'll talk about it.
great.
So
Well, I have my I if you see me writing or looking down, I have my notebook with me. So,
perfect. I got my
just
notebook
so you
too,
know,
and we're both taking notes. Who are you serving?
I am serving intermediate CrossFitters who want to improve their gymnastics to RX workouts.
What does that mean if you break it down?
What does that mean? So in CrossFit, you have the three main modalities. I would call them. You have cardio, gymnastics, and weightlifting.
Okay.
Obviously, they all inside a workout they will all intersect and they
Mhm.
all have their let's call it priorities and points of focus.
Okay.
And so I would say the first base is conditioning in general,
Okay.
that you are able to move during a certain time frame, be it and because it's CrossFit, you will work from a 5 minute to a 10 to a 30-minute time frame.
Okay.
Then you get gymnastics. And gymnastics for me, when it comes to CrossFit, is everything you do with your body.
Okay.
That is moving your body through space,
Hmm.
be it a simple air squat, being a kind almost like you, I would also put flexibility, mobility, just the
Okay.
ability to move.
Yeah.
Put your arm overhead. If I ask you to reach overhead, how high can you get your arm without over or without compensating with your upper back starting to arch because you have a limitation in your shoulder
Mm.
mobility, for example.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's like basically healthy movement or intentional movement. You're not overcompensating. You're performing
Yes,
the movements as they are intended, and mobility, flexibility.
exactly.
Okay.
And so then you get into the pull up, the push up, like the three basic ones. Well,
Calisthenic
let's
stuff.
call it
Yeah.
four because let's say
Mhm.
you wanna be able to do a sit up or a V up or a hollow hold. Okay.
Mhm.
Then what happens very often is you have the weightlifting component and
Mhm.
people are able to, I mean, it's at its core it's easier to make progressions in weightlifting than it is in gymnastics, with
Mhm.
in the sense of I tell you you have to back squat 100 kilos. At the beginning you can't, so you start with an empty bar, and
Mhm.
it's like it's a very linear path.
Mhm.
Okay, you cannot do a back squat. Okay, we start with the air squat.
Mhm.
We maybe do the front squat, or we give you a dumbbell, and like people progress.
Mhm.
And then what you start seeing is they might be good at cardio, they might be good at weightlifting, but the
Mhm.
gymnastic skills lack.
Mhm.
And they might get very strong in their weightlifting, but their gymnastic skills are lacking.
Mhm.
And people often underestimate or don't know which proper progressions there are to, let's call it, more advanced skills.
So when you say
And
intermediate, like, and to come back to the question, like, who are you serving? You're serving. So the conditioning part, that's You don't deal with that because it's already
I
done.
do, but let's say my main message is, or the top of funnel, let's call it like that, is if you're doing CrossFit and you're struggling for getting a bar muscle up, I would put that as an intermediate. You're struggling to get a bar muscle up, a ring muscle up, butterfly pull-ups. That's my first top of funnel. If
Why?
you're
Like, why?
struggling
Why are
with
you
that,
thinking about it like that? Why don't you just CrossFit like CrossFit in Colombia? Like, why is it
my
so
passion
complicated?
or my I see there's a lack of coaching in gymnastics
Okay.
inside the CrossFit space. So
So you specializing in gymnastics within CrossFit is also a
yes,
good position to say, hey, whatever level in gymnastics you are, I will coach you to elite levels. And capturing that entire funnel, elite to beginners, is how you should be thinking about it. And it's simpler than whatever you're saying.
okay.
You know what I mean?
And
Because we'll talk more about like the product. Like, I text you. I'm like, I got a good strategy for you. There's a very good way of doing that, but I want to go through this and get your ideas, and then hit you with that. Uh, but yeah, why don't you just do that? Gymnastics, just CrossFit gymnastics specialty, and just do that
without a subcategory of intermediate
without
athletes, you
intermediate,
mean?
because it's not a in jiu-jitsu. You're not saying I just deal with brown belts or I just deal with blue belts. There's no hard delineation of what that means.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So th- just the cognitive overhead of zeroing in on what you mean by intermediate is too much, and it's going to bounce, right? Whereas if you
Okay.
just say gymnastics, like, hey, I'm a CrossFit trainer and I specialize in gymnastics, boom. Anybody who's elite or beginner who's interested in that knows about that, they're eligible.
Okay. Makes sense.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because indeed I hadn't seen it in that way where I'd say my interest lies more in bringing intermediate to elite, but also helping the elite. But indeed, if I only say I help intermediate to RX, I also cut off elites because they are like, I and no, because he mainly focuses on intermediate.
Yeah, and it's not good for you to, because coaching the elite gives you credibility that the beginners want. You know what I mean? Like, if someone's like, hey, I trained Floyd Mayweather in boxing, it doesn't matter what level you are, you want to train with that guy
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they're
I see.
offering their time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, or bag work, which is kind of closer to what you're saying. You're saying, I'm just gonna focus on gymnastics. I'm not gonna do weightlifting. I'm not gonna do conditioning. I'm not gonna do cardio. And now you're specialized. They know, oh, the gymnastic guy, Tom.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, makes sense.
All right. So, what makes you, or how did this start? Like, how did your fascination, first of all, with CrossFit start, and then what drew you in to gymnastics?
In terms of CrossFit, it's the performance element. When I started when I started my fitness journey, it was for me it was never well, it was to a lesser degree about how I looked and more what I could do. I've always been the shortest guy of friends and almost every room I walk into. And so I have a football or soccer background.
Mm.
And I remember I was playing midfield and it was always like, I don't care about, don't mind the little guy. We can ignore him, kind of. By the second half came around, they were always like, I had a two-man defense on me because I proved myself, and I guess that still kind of like lights a fire in me.
Hmm.
And then they, for some reason, they put me in defense, which obviously from a physical point of view I could never manage.
Hmm.
And so I kind of like grew sick of football. And then I, funnily enough, due to my parents and everything, I went into horseback riding.
Hmm.
And with high school, there was just no time anymore to do it competitively. And it's how I fell into fitness.
It's conditioning because you need to like stay on the horse, trot, and all of that.
No, it was
Oh,
more, let's call it the bodybuilding route,
okay.
because my mom, you knew this gym from the past where she also used to went to like years ago. And then she was like, "Ah, yeah, what? Well, why don't you go there? There's
Hmm.
very good personal trainers." And it was into
Interesting.
a bodybuilding gym.
So just to get the story correct, you were in soccer, you loved playing it, but your physicality didn't help you.
Yeah.
So you got frustrated. Meanwhile, your mom kind of put you in horseback riding, and there you discovered the bodybuilding gym, and you're like, wait a minute, this feels good.
That's maybe a bit too, like, you're cutting maybe a bit too much corners. But
Okay.
indeed, like, the soccer was just, yeah, I got sick of it. And then I didn't really know what to do. And
Okay.
by so there was a friend of me living a couple of hundreds of meters next to me, like,
Yeah.
yeah. And we were going to the same school.
Hmm.
And our moms had kind of like, yeah, how do you call it in English? Like, there was a kind of like a role system of like, okay, this week it's his mom, the next week
Mm,
is my
okay.
mom. And he was doing horseback riding. And so
Okay.
in the car ride, it was always about horseback riding, because my
Okay.
mom used to do horseback riding as
Uh-huh.
well, or my parents. And yeah, I just got interested in it, like, I want to
Mm,
try it. And then I tried it. I liked it. I think after like a month or two, I got my own horse.
mm,
And I think I did it in the end for like 8 or 9 years, something like that.
okay.
But then school came around, and I didn't have that, because we couldn't have the horse at our house. So
Yeah.
we always had to drive somewhere.
Mm,
And again, it's that part of me. I don't just want to do it. If I
mhm.
want to do it, I want to compete in it.
Okay, so you have, because I'm trying to figure out, because most people would say when I was 19, I entered the bodybuilding gym, but you're prefacing the story with soccer. So I feel like there's a story there. Like you're frustrated because you were like bullied for your size, or what was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I think there's always been, like, as I said, I've always been the shortest and
Mm,
also the smallest.
yeah.
And so when I went into the fitness space, that's why I kind of like say it wasn't necessarily for getting a six pack.
Mhm,
It was to prove to others
mhm.
that do not underestimate me.
Okay, so
And
it's the
so
power. It's like I want to
it's
be jacked.
strength, yeah,
Yeah.
power and strength. And like, I want to
Mhm.
be able to do a muscle up. I want to be able
Uh,
to kind of like, I he's the short guy, but then suddenly bench 225 or
mhm.
back squat 315. And so that was kind of like much more performance oriented rather than physique oriented. Let's call
Okay.
it that
Yeah.
way.
All right. So you go to school, you ride horses. That couldn't work out because of the logistics. What
Yeah.
happens next? Like how do you get into
I
training? Or
um I don't know exact. I think it was more like I that my mom knew this gym. I think, I don't know, I must have expressed that I wanted to
like were
start
you
getting
competing? Were you
stronger.
competing in some sort of like CrossFit games or something?
No, no, at that point, no, because I think I did 2 years of, I think I did like 6 or 9 months of a guided program. Let's call it like that. But that was just still kind of like bodybuilding stuff. Then I changed gyms. and it was more like bro lifting, like
Yeah,
with your friends trying stuff
the
out.
best. Yeah.
And then after 2 years, something like that, I moved to a different city, and I think it was also the first time I saw like the CrossFit games online.
Okay.
So we're talking 2014,
Mhm.
2016, I think somewhere around that time frame,
Mhm.
which was also coincidentally kind of like the massive growth of CrossFit. And I
Mhm.
remember looking and like seeing these jacked guys doing Olympic lifts,
Mhm.
doing gymnastics, and it wasn't how they looked, it was what they could do in a competitive setting. I
Mhm.
was like, I also want to do that.
Yeah.
And then I joined a CrossFit gym, and because I focused 2 years on strict strength,
Mhm.
I immediately became competitive in my box
Mhm.
in the CrossFit space. So
Mhm.
that was for me like, okay, this is actually really cool. Yes, I am the shortest and the smallest, but actually no one cares.
Mhm.
Like, yes, I have a disadvantage on a rowing machine or in a pure weightlifting
Mhm.
sense, but there is so much technique to learn in Olympic weightlifting. But I have a massive advantage in gymnastics. Like, I can
Mhm.
do the strict muscle ups. No one, or like, there's little
Mhm.
people who can do strict muscle ups. So I had a massive leap in terms of gymnastics.
Yeah.
And after a while, I also started noticing like a lot of like there were good coaches where I was, but there were also not so good coaches. And
Mhm.
because I am so interested in not just doing something, but doing something well,
Mhm.
I also started to learn how to program myself, or start reading into programming of like, okay, what's important, or what, how to avoid redundancy in workouts. And yes, sometimes there is redundancy, but there is no point in writing a crazy workout for the coach's ego,
Mhm.
because where's the benefit? Like, the benefit must lie in the intensity, not in just throwing 10 movements together and saying,
Mhm.
yeah, it was a super hard workout. No, you're
Yeah.
like, there is no adaptation from there. And it's kind of, and it's not just in one box. Then you start traveling and you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to do a drop in Barcelona, in Madrid,
Mhm.
in France, in Italy, wherever you
Mhm.
go. And it's like, there is this lack of good coaching. And
Okay.
I, that's kind of like, okay, there is still this level of self-doubt that's playing.
Mhm.
Probably we won't get enough time to get the
We
whole
have time. We have
psychology
time. Like
part.
I'll guide
um
it. Don't worry about it. But so you're you're doing so I get it. You go into CrossFit, you get good at these skills. You from your I guess background in horseback riding for 9 years, you kind of understand how to do programming. You did some bro lifting stuff and whatever, and you're like, oh, the goal is to be powerful over a long period of time. It's not
yeah,
to display your ego and get injured. And now you're sensitive to that. You do some self programming and you get results, and you see that there's a lack of awareness everywhere you travel to, right?
yeah.
And then when's the moment that you train your first person or like actually, how does that happen? Like, what was the leap?
So during COVID, we all had to train inside, I
Mhm.
think all over the world. And I was lucky that at that point I met my girlfriend,
Mhm.
and she's also, we met in a CrossFit gym.
Mhm.
So our interests are really aligned,
Mhm.
and you get confined, and we actually, from the CrossFit box we were at, we get all this equipment. So
Mhm.
we continued training a lot at home. You learn even more about how to program yourself, how to program others. And then I actually, I think after COVID,
Mhm.
because you are also much more outside, like you
Yeah.
run more, I was like, okay, actually I very much like CrossFit, but I wanna try a triathlon.
Mhm.
So I start training for it's a it's a Olympic distance triathlon. So what is it
Mhm.
like? It's like a mile swim, is it, or like something like that? I don't remember. It's 40K
Mhm.
bike, and then you finish with a 10K run.
Mhm.
But I'm still doing CrossFit on the side.
Mhm.
And then we, like, my girlfriend, she actually changes gyms because her interests become much more into actual bodybuilding.
Mhm.
And the gym she moves to also has cross training, which is pretty
Mhm.
much CrossFit.
Mhm.
And I also join. I know the head coach, and at one point he offers me a coaching spot.
Oh,
He's like,
nice. Okay.
he's like, would you be interested in coaching classes?
And that's
First, I was
because he sees your social media that you're training for triathlons, or
no, he just knows. He's. I think it was about he coached my girlfriend
uh,
for something food related. I think so.
okay.
He knew me of me being able to do CrossFit, doing the triathlons,
Okay.
being really interested in gymnastics. Like
Mhm.
that's kind of like, and yeah, I did
I
some
love it.
trial classes
Yeah.
and I coached in person, let's call it,
Yeah.
for it's gonna be like almost 2 years
Okay. Hell yeah.
before actually moving online.
Okay. And
And
then
so
what made you take that leap to online?
is to just serve more people,
Okay.
and to be able, so I'm still to this day doing a, let's call it, a 9 to 5 consultancy job,
Yeah.
and I'm combining that with online CrossFit coaching.
Amazing. And how's that working out? Like, is it like, are you getting clients online? And
Yeah,
hell
yeah.
yeah.
I think
How
at now,
tell
like,
us the story of the first online customer. How did
um,
they find you? How did you get them?
so so right, it's a mix
Mhm.
of, I think at one point I was coaching in two CrossFit places. One
Mhm.
was the gym I was training at, and then I
Mhm.
was doing I was giving like 3 or 4 classes a week. Um, I also, with the other, like, there were 3 coaches. There was my girlfriend in the end, the head
Mhm.
coach, and myself.
Uh,
And everyone did a 8 week or 12 week programming cycle. So you learn about what works in programming. You have immediately feedback in
mhm.
person, and you also learn how to give cues.
Uh,
And then I also started coaching in another gym, and I did like 1 or 2 regular classes, and then it also quickly became like specialty classes in gymnastics, which people really enjoyed. And I did a couple of in-person workshops specific for gymnastics because, again, I saw that people were much more struggling with their gymnastics rather than their weightlifting. And how the online part came about, which is funny because my first 2 clients online were actually less about CrossFit
mhm.
rather than general physical fitness,
Mhm.
being stronger in calisthenics. Because I
Mhm.
remember actually, so I've been very consistent on X, or
Mhm.
if it was still, when it was still called Twitter. But
Mhm.
I remember first posting about Excel
Mhm.
because of my day-to-day job,
Mhm.
and I was decent at I was good
Yeah.
at it. Then it became about productivity, and I remember having a call with someone that I
Mhm.
met on Twitter, and that call was half an hour or an hour of me talking about fitness. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm still doing with productivity. Like
Yeah.
if someone asks me,
Hmm.
you have to give an hour presentation and you only have 5 minutes of preparation,
Yeah.
it's not going to be about Excel or productivity.
It's gonna be
It's
gymnastics.
going to be
I was gonna
about
say.
going to be fitness
Uh-huh.
and gymnastics and CrossFit.
Uh-huh.
So I
Uh-huh.
quickly knew like, okay, that's where actually my passion or my interest lie.
Uh,
So I started like posting about, okay, and I'm like, okay, I'm not the most jacked guy. I'm also not the one that is going to tell you like you have to do a bro split. Like I want to again follow in that performance. I think it's much cooler to do muscle ups, to do a 225 or 250 pound bench and still like run a half marathon. So it's and that's in theory is CrossFit.
so,
Like
so what is
people,
special about you, like with people? Like, how do you help them? Like, what makes them choose you over someone else?
one,
Hmm.
a lot of the people that I am currently training actually came from offline. So they knew me from the in-person classes
Hmm.
and they told me, yeah, I want to have a better guidance or more guidance in my CrossFit and especially my gymnastics.
Hmm.
And that's how the online came about.
Okay.
In terms of like the major, like to kind of like kickstart the online business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I posted online, mostly on Twitter. Actually, I'm still
I mean,
suck at
what are they
Instagram.
attracted to? Keep this on track. Like, why would they pick you over, I guess, a regular CrossFit? Is the gymnastic thing the
Yeah,
thing that draws them in?
yeah.
Okay, so it's what about so if you're gonna say after your services render, right? Like whatever that
Hmm.
goal is, achieving a muscle up or running a 5K or having a goal and achieving it, right? Uh, what does a three-star review look like out of five? Not necessarily with you in your kind of service. Like, what would someone who's like, ah, yeah, 3 stars? What does that look like?
Lack of feedback.
Okay, no feedback. And what is a 4-star review?
I think it would be good question to think of it in stars. Maybe a lack of personalization,
Okay, so you got feedback, but it's standardized almost. And
kind of.
what is a 5-star review?
But you achieve your goals,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's part of the expectation setting of like
Mhm,
how fast.
mhm,
Um, it's you have a personalized plan where it also feels very personalized. Like
mhm,
if you come to me with a specific goal and after 3 or couple of months maybe your goals shift
mhm,
and me as a coach should not feel annoyed by you changing your goal.
mhm,
My role is to adapt and to tell you what's possible or what's not possible and then adjust the programming based to your goals. I've
mhm,
heard stories of people saying, yeah, I want to add this competition to my
mhm,
schedule, and the coach gets pissed and like he's like, no, not at all, you cannot do this. I'm like, there's always two coins, like two parts
mhm,
or like two sides on a coin, but I think you should be open as a coach to really like, one, you should be able to tell your client yes or no,
mhm,
but still if the client is convinced that he or she wants to do this, um so that's a big one. and feedback. I think with gymnastics together with weightlifting is such a technical aspect
Mm,
of the sport, and breaking down movement so your client also learns. Like
mm,
if you are under my guidance, I also want you to learn. That if you tell me after 6 months,
mhm,
okay, I stop the coaching, that after 6 months you are able to understand what workouts are doing, what if you see a a CrossFit workout coming up,
mm.
what is the intention of the workout, what should I do here. That you It's not about just giving someone a program and just say, here you go. No,
Yeah,
it's
you
also the
understand it.
intention behind it. Like, I want you to learn, I want you to understand what you're doing.
I love it. So 3-star review is, I kind of accomplished my goals, but I didn't get any feedback and it wasn't personalized. Four
Yeah,
stars, it was like I got feedback, but it's kind of standardized. 5-star review, it's personalized. I achieved my goal. I did it in a good time, and I learned uh,
yeah,
why I'm doing what I'm doing. And he was kind enough to adapt to my goals midway, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
What's a 6-star review?
I thought we were 5 out of 5.
I know, but that's the whole point of the exercise. I still make you think a little extra.
Well, a 6 star would almost be he joins me or he comes with me to competitions.
Mm,
And obviously, depending on where someone lives, it's a bit harder.
yeah.
But I can give the example. Like right now, I'm checking plane tickets for Miami,
Hmm.
to maybe go and join a client to a half marathon.
Hmm.
But last year, a couple of clients were doing CrossFit competition. In
Yeah.
the same CrossFit competition, it was in Belgium. I'm currently in Colombia, and
Mm,
there was this I don't know, get together for like my 9 to 5 work, and
mm,
then I could go, and I was like, you know what, I'll go. I think I went like 1 or 2 weeks longer so I could actually go to the competition
uh,
and coach my clients in person, or like tell them like, okay, focus on this, like you have to adapt here, like this is the
mm,
strategy for the workout. Go literally with them, like as far as I was allowed to on the
mm,
competition floor, because I have done it in the past. That's also something that people are saying, like, you have done a triathlon, you have done a HIROX, you have done CrossFit
mm,
competitions, you've been in the top 10 of CrossFit competitions, you've been on
mm,
podium in like inside CrossFit, like a
mm.
CrossFit competition in the
Right.
box. Like, you you know what to do, like
Yeah.
you know how to do
You're
all
legit.
the skills. Yeah.
So what's a 7-star review? If it's 6 star is you go with them to the competition, what is a 7-star review?
I'm really thinking outside of the box, but it would almost be video coaching,
Oh, like
where
breakdowns, video breakdowns?
no, like literally, let's say the person goes to the gym,
Mhm,
sets up the tripod, starts
mhm.
FaceTiming, and I'm coaching online, like through FaceTime,
Right.
telling them like they do their lift and they have immediate feedback of like, okay, no, you didn't extend your hips.
Mm.
You like literally, it's kind of like a in-person coaching, but rather me being next to them
Technology.
in person.
Technology.
It's
Yeah,
just through technology.
I love it. I'm also gonna say I think a 7-star review is I worked with Tom and I won the competition. You know what I mean? Like that. I think that is the ultimate review you can have. Is I'm a champion because of Tom's help. You know what I mean? That would be the ultimate one. But moving on, what
Yeah,
is the dream? Why are you doing all this?
that's a very loaded question.
Why?
I think
Why is it
the
loaded?
dream is, and again, I think it's a very cliche, but it would be freedom. But
Describe
if
freedom, though.
we, yeah, yeah. So for me, freedom is, and I think so. I've got better in expressing that, because sometimes, again, I think it's because of the kind of like, I'm not gonna call it imposter syndrome, but maybe it's fear of what others think. And
Mm,
it's, for me, freedom has, you have the location.
okay.
Is right now I was able to move to Colombia, and I'm still doing my consultancy job, and I am earning
Let's
money
do it a
or
different way,
revenue.
because I feel
Yeah.
like it's hanging you up a little bit. All right.
Okay.
Take 3 minutes, with the notebook, and draw what that means to you with symbols, not words, just pictures or abstract shapes or whatever comes to you in terms of hell yeah, that's the ultimate, like I'm at the pinnacle of my impact, the peak of power. I have everything that I'm working for and all the influences that means in your world. Just draw a little picture of that, multiple images, multiple symbols, but on one page. Only rule is no words. You can also make it like Picasso, Van Gogh, whatever, like this, you're not gonna be great. Just do that.
No, but then actually, if it's that, it's not that hard.
Yeah, do it. Draw.
It's my girlfriend, or my future wife, let's call it.
Hmm.
Me, my wife, kids,
Hmm.
dog,
Okay.
in a remote setting.
Uh-huh. What is remote setting? That is vague.
Remote setting is either Swiss Alps or
Okay.
somewhere here in Colombia, a finca, like a coffee farm.
Okay.
Both of us can serve people achieving their best physical and mental state when it
Mhm.
comes to health,
Mhm.
performance, and in the garage there's a
Mhm.
911.
Hell. Okay. Well, why is that so hard? Why was that loaded?
I think it might be one of the first times I've described it like that, and put a 911 in the
In the garage.
in the garage,
Yeah.
because the fear of people perceiving me as a very materialistic person.
But we live in a material world. What does that have to do with it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to put into words,
Yeah,
because I think maybe.
this is about you. This is not about people. This is like my only thing in your dream is like, what's your wife gonna drive? Cayenne? 911. You got a turbo. What do you need? You need a family car. Where are the kids gonna go in the back of the 911?
Well, the 911 is probably going to be a bit small for kids, but I
Yeah.
see the point. No, but yeah, it
Yeah, yeah.
in indeed
Let's get a Cayenne
it's
in the second slot. So you twinsies, it looks, you have the
exactly.
911, so you got the Cayenne. Yeah, it's beautiful, bro. So how does what you do now take you there, right? So you already have, I guess, a quarter or a third of the dream already achieved, right? You are serving people, you are helping
Hmm.
people with the physical and mental well-being. Uh, you have the partner, right? And you guys are happy. You kind of live in a beautiful place already, but I get it. You want a house, you want a farm, you want the thing, maybe small, coffee production, small batch, a little cafe. I don't know.
Mm, yeah.
Uh, it's a good dream. It's beautiful. Like having that picture, and I'm a big believer in visualization. I
Mm-hmm.
think visualizing something brings it to the forefront of your mind and gives it priority, gives it importance. So I definitely recommend before you go to sleep, just visualizing that, you know, h- be there, like emotionally, everything, invest like active imagination. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not just,
Well,
oh, wouldn't it be nice? No, actually, you know, put yourself
is
there.
it then? I assume you're a fan, or you're, yeah, a fan of vision boards.
No, like
Okay,
just have the
because
dream somewhere. However, if you want to put it in a vision board, put it in a vision board. But no, that I'm a fan of utilizing your imagination, your
Mhm.
your brain, your visualization power. Like just close it and seeing it and feeling it like you're there. That is a muscle that you need to train and get good at and spend daily time in that kind of power. I think it is because it brings it into, hey, you know, am I making enough money to buy a chalet in the Swiss Alps? Probably not. Maybe I need to raise my intensity. You know what I mean? Can I get a 911? Can I go? How am I gonna get the 200 grind for my 911? How am I gonna get whatever the 100 grind for the Cayenne? How am I gonna? You now start seeing. Okay, maybe I need, like, for example, let's say you want to cash flow, I don't know, 200 grind a year, right?
Mhm.
5%. I'm not, there's the rule, don't do public math. Uh, but 200 grand, right? Times 20. That's like 4 million. No. Am I doing bad public math? No, I think it is 4 million, right? Times 5.
Two
Yeah,
hundred times 20
that's
is,
$4 million,
yes.
dollars, right? So to get $4 million, right? It's 4 million units of a $1 product or whatever you're selling, right? Um, like for example, do you mind sharing your prices? Like, what does an engagement look like with you?
Uh, they from
Or your
this year is
business model?
250, so
Your
it's
business
250
model
a
is
month.
250 a month. Okay, so
Yeah.
250 a month, right? Whatever, 4 million divided by 250. That's 16,000 units, 16,000 months. However, you want
Yeah.
to break it down, and now it's very concrete, right? I need to go sell 16,000 units, and you and your creativity. 16,000 units. How many people can you take a month?
I think it's gonna be between 30 and 50. I know
30 or
it's quite of a
50
broad
divided by
range.
50. So that's 320 months divided by 12. That's 26 years. So already your business model is broken, right? You need to figure something else out. So that's why having this kind of stuff matters, because you can kind of say, okay, I need to change the plan. Right? I need
Yeah.
something that can create much more money. I need to. So, anyways, right now this is kind of selfish for me because I'm building a notes app, notes thinking app, right? So I care about how people organize their thinking and their planning and their ideas and their writing and all of that. So how do you do that now? Like you want to get to that dream and you're coaching and you have, what's your system look like?
In terms of like,
Actual organization, like where, first of all, where do you write your dream down?
right now, it's not.
Okay, we need to start with that. Right? You have to have your dream somewhere in a notebook or a notes app or whatever. Okay, what are the projects you have going on right now in your life? You have your job. Do you use
Mhm.
internal software or do you use something else?
So um let's say the 9 to 5 aside,
Mhm.
the for the coaching I use a coaching app.
Okay,
It's
what's that
called
called?
Train Heroic, and
Okay,
that's all the training. So all the training that some like a
so you have
client
clients
follows.
in the thing and
Yeah,
goals and
yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Can you
So
take
that
notes
goal,
in it about each client?
yes, yeah,
Okay, so it has a notes feature in it.
yeah.
Amazing.
So it has that, and then the second tool
Mhm.
is Loom. And
Yeah.
I use Loom to screen record client feedback.
Okay.
So the clients are sending their videos inside Train Heroic
Hmm.
per training session,
Hmm.
and then I give feedback on those videos
Good.
through Loom, and
Mhm.
I send it back to the client, and that goes from 1 to 3 times a week per client.
Do you do any kind of planning to like outside of that workflow?
So with the client, every month or whenever they want, we have a specific coaching call, and especially like the end of the year came
Yeah.
around, and then with the clients, I was like, okay, what are your goals for 2026?
Hmm.
And so for one person, it was listing CrossFit competitions and listing down, okay, I want X amount of weight. Like I want to be able to hit X amount of clean and jerk, or I want to be able to do this in
Yeah.
gymnastics. So we list it down and we put it in Train Heroic and say, okay, or even like because with quite some clients, I'm using WhatsApp, and we use start, or what is it called, start messages.
Okay.
So we like after
Okay.
the call, we list the goals, we start a message so we can revisit it very easily of like, okay, are we closer or further away from the goal? And so
Mhm.
we can revisit that per client.
But do you do any kind of personal thinking about everything? Or is that just happens in your brain? There's no space for that.
When I start a new cycle for a client, I will have a notebook with me
Yeah.
or a Google Sheet, like a separate kind of like Excel
Mhm.
file where I put the goals for the cycle for like the next 8 to 12 weeks. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, these are the main focus points. And then I will break it. I align where are they now, and then I would break it down like that.
And
But
what
it
about
would
your
be
learnings? Like, let's say you find a technique or whatever, you just remember it, or do you have a place for it?
mostly I remember it.
Okay. And your guides and all of that, you do that with Google Docs?
The latest two the handstand one I've done through, yeah, I did Google Docs. Then I translated to Canva,
Okay.
and then I had the free pull-up one is uh, also through Google Docs.
Okay. And then moving on from like how you organize, because I get the picture. How do you manage your energy? Like, how do you approach energy in general? Like, what do you think about energy? What's your take on it? Because you have a 9 to 5, so
Yeah,
people with 9 to 5 who have other things going, they're almost always masters of energy, right? Because 9 to 5 already takes so much out of you, right? To not go home and have a giant cheesesteak and go to sleep, you know, takes a lot of discipline and effort. And like, how do you think about that? Like,
I
uh,
think it's feeling it's maybe sound weird, but feeling inadequate. The
okay,
fear of feeling inadequate and
mhm,
feeling regular,
yeah,
that I don't want to be. regular.
Yeah.
I don't want to regret not trying to live to my potential.
Mhm.
And sometimes it feels um what's the word? Um like I still am gonna get stuck in an Instagram void or a Twitter
Yeah.
void and just be doom scrolling. And it's okay if it happens. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it because it just happened. So, but also knowing like it's okay if it happens,
Yeah.
and kind of like understand why it happened, and then say, okay, like it's a good discussion that we have with my girlfriend as well. Like to have moments in the week where there is no pressure involved.
For sure. But how do you achieve the good moments, right? Because you're managing clients, you're going to the gym, you're spending time with your girlfriend, right? And all of that takes. Is it like do you work out after or before uh your 9 to 5?
It depends. If it's running, it's often before. If I
Yeah.
run, it's often before. If I if it's about lifting,
Hmm.
like strength training, it will often be after the nine to
Okay.
five, or it would be during lunchtime
Hell yeah. And then your clients, how do you deal
or
with that?
in or in the evening, or
Evening,
in the weekends.
evening or
Yeah,
weekends. All right.
evening or weekends. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I
in
mean,
terms of
I,
food, like do you care about what you eat and how you're fueling yourself energy wise?
yes,
Uh,
yeah, but I am very lucky that my girlfriend is amazing in that. So
yeah.
she oftentimes takes the lead
Awesome.
in what we're having. Um, like she's also a health coach, food coach, and yeah. I mean, probably without her, I know I would probably be eating much more junk food.
Yeah.
But like she keeps
I love that.
stuff on track in that sense.
All right. To wrap up a little bit, uh, do you think about legacy or your impact at all?
No, honestly,
Yeah.
not yet. Maybe it comes,
Yeah.
but as of today, obviously, sometimes I would think, how full would the church be when it's my funeral?
Mm.
And
But just your influence, like let's not make it very morbid where it's like what's on my
okay,
tombstone grave or who's gonna show up for me or whatever. But like in terms of influence and impact intentionally, what you wanna influence the world with, do you have a goal like that or like your girlfriend? Like do you wanna impart some sort of influence or impact that way? Because it all starts with
it's n-
human beings. I ask this question because a lot of times we isolate ourselves and think it's my world and my way or the highway or whatever. But in reality, we are living in an interconnected universe, right? What you do, what you post, what you say, how you show up, all of it affects and has ripple effects and butterfly effects and all of that, right? So you can either be oblivious to that and go about the world and say, oh, whatever happens, I don't care, or you can say, hey, I am a powerful individual, whether I like it or not. And everything I say and everything I do impacts people. And let me be intentional about that. So, not that the first way is wrong. I feel like that's your choice. I know a lot of people who are like, nah, I'm the shit. I'm just gonna, you know, do me, and I'm happy with that. And I love people like that, right? But there's also another approach that goes back to the goal setting thing. Like there's a lot of people that don't have goals. They just do whatever they like and you know, that's their style. So that's kind of my question. Like It sounds like you don't think about it or you haven't thought about it, but I'm wondering, is it because you're afraid to think about it, or you just it's not your style?
I know I'm a people pleaser, but I have not thought in the sense of what you're specifically asking of, like, what is my vision on a legacy.
Love it. All right. So before we leave, let's say there was, some dude who's out of shape, right? And let's say it's like a version of you that is out of shape because it
Hmm.
makes it more personal, right? What is your advice to that person? Like, what do you want to tell them that kind of ignites that passion to start taking their mental fitness and their physical fitness more seriously?
Sign up to a CrossFit gym.
CrossFit gym. I love it.
And the reason why I
Mhm,
say that is you're gonna get involved with like-minded people.
mhm,
If you sign up to a bodybuilding gym
mhm,
or a global gym,
mhm,
it's gonna be harder to make friends or to
mhm,
make, because it's there are gyms with great communities, like
mhm,
global gyms, like you get to know someone and it's great.
mhm,
But if you sign up to a CrossFit gym, you are gonna get exposed to conditioning,
mhm,
to weightlifting, to gymnastics, to the whole thing. You're gonna get exposed to people who are there that wanna improve themselves. You're gonna be exposed to stuff you suck at
mhm,
and you have to get better at. If after 6 to 9 months you find, I don't care about conditioning, I wanna be a badass in weightlifting, I wanna sign up to a weightlifting
mhm,
competition, then okay, that's for me. But start with a very broad base.
mhm,
Get sign up. Hopefully, there's amazing coaches there that guide you through your first months to a year and see what you like.
mhm,
And automatically, your nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, everything will be uh, downstream from there, or like will follow from there. Because what's going to happen is, if you sign up to the class of 7 a.m. in the morning, you're not going to be wasted. You don't want to be wasted the night before, because
mhm.
someone is waiting in the gym for me to keep me
Yeah.
accountable.
Mhm,
You will say, like, what is the point of stuffing my face with fast food
mhm,
if that means I feel shit the next day, and John is beating me in a workout and he looks
mhm,
even worse than me. He looks even worse than me, and the guy
mhm.
is beating me. How is he doing this?
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
It's amazing. Because what I'm hearing is CrossFit is built for fitness in general, and it kind of normalizes size differences and all of that.
It doesn't matter if you're a janitor or a CEO of a $5 million company. You're doing the same workout, and maybe the janitor is kicking the CEO's ass, and no one knows. No
I love
one
it.
knows. No one
Mhm,
cares what you can do
yeah.
outside the gym. You leave your ego at the door.
Mhm.
You sign up to do the exact same workout or scale to your capabilities, and no one cares what you do outside.
Hell yeah.
And
Love
that's what people forget about CrossFit. People think CrossFit is a butterfly pull-ups, and they're like, and
Mhm.
it's destroying my shoulders. And it's like, the CrossFit didn't destroy your shoulders, your ego destroyed your shoulders, because you could
Yeah.
not train to 5 and to 10 strike
Mhm.
pull-ups and everything else, and
Mhm.
your ego took over, and your shoulders are the victim of it.
Hell, love. Anyways, thank you, Tom. That is